Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we decided to go ahead and hop on this mukbang train, as well as we went and saw Deadpool 2 last night, so we figured while we're doing a mukbang we'll go ahead and talk about that as well. So obviously spoilers. So overall, what did you think of the show, or of the movie?
It was pretty good. I thought I was going to be pretty disappointed going into it, considering it's a sequel, and Marvel doesn't really have a good history with sequels. Like Thor: The Dark World didn't really live up to the hype. You know, Winter Soldier was good, but
yeah, but Ragnarok was good.
Ragnarok was the third movie. It wasn't a sequel. I'm talking like the second of the runs.
Yeah. So for our mukbang, we're having a place called Fuzzy's Tacos.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
Yeah.
So the delivery guy actually forgot half the order.
So it's cold.
Yep, it's cold, and a bunch of it spilled earlier, which was super inconvenient. So I got chicken fajita quesadillas and a chips and queso.
I got 4 different kinds of tacos. I got a spicy pork, some California blend that they got with some feta cheese and I believe beef. Or no, that's more pork that's in there. And then a shrimp and a seafood one. So, anything to displease Megan. Yeah,
because he knows that his breath is going to stink later and he's probably going to fart up the bed.
Both are true.
So, basically I have like the summary of the movie up, just because we're not going to remember every single point. So this will kind of help us go through it and talk about more of it.
Well, before we dive into it in order, what do you think your favorite parts of the movie were?
I liked that Vanessa was back in it. I expected her not to be in it at all. But I was super sad when she died. But I did not quite tear up.
I did. She was sad.
I liked that he basically became selfless and wanted to help save Russell no matter what. But I also thought it was dope that the villain, per se, Cable, ended up actually also being selfless and doing what he thought was best, even if that meant that he wasn't going to get to go see his wife and daughter again. That he went ahead and he knew that they were safe, so he still accomplished what he went there for.
Right, I mean, like, just the nature of Deadpool, he tends to go by what he thinks is best and suits his own life, not necessarily what's good, what's evil, stuff like that, which you can see clearly throughout either of the movies or any of the comics.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was a little bit all over the place, because I did not expect for him to A, try to kill himself, B, I expected more of the like whole squad, the X-Force squad or whatever, so that definitely threw me off. And I expected Cable to be just straight up a villain the entire time, and obviously in the trailers they didn't tell you why Cable was after Russell, which I kind of liked, because then it didn't spoil like the whole thing like some trailers do.
They left some of it up for interpretation.
Yeah.
And,
so I felt like it was kind of all over the place, and there was like 3 different plot lines going on through that movie. But I mean, I don't really expect anything less at this point.
Yeah, you had like the entirety of Russell, like seeing how he's growing up and the villain that he's going to eventually become, and the little flash forwards showing what he's capable of, which I thought was great. The way that they bounced around in the time, which they did a lot in the first Deadpool movie too.
When?
Over half the movie was a flashback of leading up to the initial bridge scene.
Yeah, okay. There's like a whole story background.
Yeah. Like, as he was doing his opening scene, he's like, let me pump the brakes, show you back what happened. So, you know, it seems to be a recurring theme for the Deadpool movies, but I think it's working out pretty well. Yeah.
I feel like if it didn't work out well the first time, they definitely wouldn't have done it again. So obviously they're doing something right.
Right, but they didn't copy it so much that it felt like reused material and more of the same.
Something that got brought to my attention today at work was like Juggernaut, there's no way that he would have died that way. Like, even if he did get shocked and thrown into a pool, he would have been able to, like, live through it and be fine and, like, carry on. Otherwise, and I also was, like, informed, whatever, that, what's the silver dude's name?
Which one? Kronos?
Yeah. That there's
or
no...
Colossus, sorry.
Colossus, yeah. There's no way that he would have been able to even attempt to fight Juggernaut.
Not.
Whoa.
Not nut. And
regardless.
If you were paying attention during the movie, Juggernaut did not die. He he was climbing up out of the pool.
Yeah, but it almost seemed like he was, like...
He didn't get electrocuted.
He was in that pool for a long time.
Yeah. He was probably rendered unconscious.
I guess. So is he Professor Xavier's brother then? Or whose brother is he? Yeah?
Xavier's stepbrother, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. So...
Why don't you think Colossus would actually attempt to take on Juggernaut?
I don't think that. David was talking about that.
Did David give a reason why?
Because Juggernaut basically is the best whatever is the best there ever will be, and I don't know.
No, Juggernaut's like his main powers and stuff that you saw is like he starts gaining momentum. He can't be stopped. He's just physically strong.
Well, yeah, he's also huge. So I mean, he'd have to be strong if he's that big.
Not necessarily.
More likely than not. What's up with the helmet though?
The helmet is like shock absorbing, so he can like ram his head into stuff without breaking his neck.
Gotcha. Oh, something I did not piece together is that the dude that killed Vanessa was the dude that was hiding in the safe house.
Yep, the same guy.
Yeah, I didn't
that
like...
he was late for his little anniversary and came back. If he would have just called Vanessa and been like, "Hey,
I'm gonna be late. I got shit to do.
I gotta kill this guy before he,
Why did he run away from everybody at that warehouse? Why didn't he just try to fight him? He's fought like a giant group of people before. What made that so different? Like, why did he run away? Oh, because he was late.
He was already late.
Okay.
That's why when he ran into the safe house, he's like, "Oh, come on, guy, really? I got places to be," and signaled to his watch. He was already running late for his anniversary, which is why he had to tell Vanessa that he was
but she also
helping handicapable children. And
she knows what he does.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if he is late, I mean,
Megan,
as a girl,
you know what I do for a living, and you get pissed at me for not being able to stay up like 11 midnight when I gotta work the next morning.
Whatever.
So you can't say that Vanessa would not get upset on their anniversary.
He has a different type of profession. She knows he's never going to be dead because he can regen literally everything.
But it wasn't about him dying. It was about him being late. Which she got over it quick, but at the same time, you cannot say that as a woman you wouldn't be upset at me for
so as
being like, no matter the circumstances.
Yeah, but I mean, it's...
I could be at the store buying you something, and I would show up late, and you wouldn't give a fuck about what I brought you because I was late.
Whatever. They're so full of it. So, anyways. So yeah, basically we talked point on the beginning. Vanessa dying. Like I said, he blows himself up.
Tries.
Yeah. Well, he does, but he just doesn't die.
Right, because Colossus comes back, puts him in a body bag, and he's recovering a ski token or grabbing a ski token.
Trying to see what else really is next. So yeah, then they just go and they see that Russell was abused.
Well, that entire, like, him, I thought it was hilarious how they kept bringing up the fact that he was a trainee. That wasn't something that Negasonic just kept bringing up every time he called himself a member of the X-Force.
I was kind of getting
the X-Men.
Trainee.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought it was funny.
No.
He kept saying that he was an X-Men, and Negasonic kept bringing up that he was a trainee.
Yeah, but even Bedlam said that on the plane.
Yeah, because he was still talking like he was an X-Men. I'm pretty sure that with the news coverage,
It had that jersey on?
Yeah, he had the jersey on that said trainee right across the back.
Maybe.
Pretty hard to miss. I mean, it was obscured by his swords, so I had a hard time seeing it, but I knew what it was, and
That it
the
was
way
there.
she kept talking about it, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think's gonna happen in the next one? Parker thinks that it's gonna become just a X-Force thing instead of Deadpool.
Well, I mean, as we saw with this one, he did assemble his X-Force, but the idea went away pretty quick because it is a character movie. I think that they are setting up that one day down the line, instead of the Avengers being the team movie that draws everyone to the Marvel Universe, I think one day we will see an R-rated X-Force movie, which
As long as it would get bought out.
What do you mean? I mean, Fox owns the rights to like the X-Men universe,
Yeah.
and they're still licensed through Marvel.
Yeah.
And even if Disney were to acquire them, I think it would be foolish for them to just do away with, like, literally
The dark
one of the
humor
most.
and the rated R.
But they would be doing away with one of the most profitable little franchises that has been created. I mean, I just saw an article earlier that said that this box office opening weekend, Deadpool 2 beat out Infinity Wars.
I told you that.
But I still saw it. You didn't say it. You had all the time in the world to say it.
Oh my goodness.
But if they continue on a trend like that, with Deadpool surpassing the first one, surpassing everybody's thoughts, and the second one coming in as hard as it did, I don't think that it's something that you could look at and make a smart decision and be like, now I'm just going to walk away from it.
Yeah, they're making, I mean, obviously they made a second one for a reason, because it made enough money from the first one and saw its popularity. Who owned the Logan movie?
Fox.
Oh. I was like, wasn't that rated R too?
Yeah, but that was their second R-rated superhero movie
Because of Deadpool.
because of the first Deadpool. Which Deadpool even gave a little shout out in the very opening scene with a little
like ballerina box.
Yeah, a little ballerina box like toy with Wolverine as Logan impaled on the log where he died in the movie, and yeah, just made a comment about riding his coattails with the R rating. The fourth wall breaks in this movie were very well done. There were a couple of scenes that called out to the first Deadpool movie that I loved.
The
Cure for Blindness, right next to the cocaine. He opened up a floorboard in Blind Al's, that blind woman that he used to live with. Opened up a floorboard and saw a little briefcase with the tag Cure for Blindness right
I
next
thought it was
to
just a book.
No.
Oh.
How would a book be the cure for blindness?
Like,
they can't.
One of those fake books that like opens up and there's something.
No,
in
it was a briefcase.
It didn't look that big.
Yeah, that was right before Deadpool took a whole shit ton of cocaine to the dome.
Yeah, because he was about to go do something stupid.
He did do something stupid.
Shit, what did he do right after that? I don't remember. I think that's right before he blew himself up and shit.
Quite possibly.
I think so. Pretty sure. I'm getting full already.
Well, come on, we got the rest of the movie to get through.
I don't know what else there is. We touched base on almost everything.
We didn't touch base on any of the prison scene.
Yeah.
Any of anything that happens later than the movie. Like, we basically got up to the point of him as an X-Men trainee. We barely talked about the X-Force.
Well, yeah, there
apart
wasn't
from
a whole
what
lot.
we think we're gonna do next.
Well, there's not a whole lot of the X-Force anyways, because everybody legit gets killed.
Yeah.
They get hyped up in that all the trailers, and then like 2 seconds in, they're like all dead. Which is, I mean, I don't think I would have wanted to watch a bunch of their stuff. I would have watched
I am
it.
super glad though that the way that they chose to shoot Domino. I loved her action scene.
She was dope.
Like everything that you could imagine that you thought you could do everything going right for her just as it needed to happen. And him reluctantly coming back, he decried like during their entire interview process that being lucky isn't in fact a superpower.
I wish it was.
But then seeing how everything went for her, and then him just being like, okay, maybe it's a little superpower. Everything just worked out perfect for her, and it was great. The little stuff that got set up, like Deadpool would do something that'd cascade into doing something else that would benefit her.
It honestly reminded me a lot of like some Final Destination shit. Like as you see like the light pole coming down and like hitting someone on the head, and then like their head gets chopped off and all sorts of like weird shit. Like that's some Final Destination stuff. I don't know. Russell was really funny in person though, till he got his little fat kid heart broken.
Well, he just was so on about him and Deadpool being best friends, being a team.
Him having that pain up his butt.
Being the two that are going to take on the world together. And Deadpool, so after they got put in this prison and everything, after he went and confronted Russell, he got on that collar that took away his abilities. Well, with Deadpool's abilities, it took away his regeneration, but the way that his regeneration worked, it sped up all of the tumors that were in his body, which is why he looks so ass ugly.
I totally forgot about that.
Right. It's not something that they really mentioned. They just kind of went to the point that he still has cancer. But if you remember in the first movie, they did tell that like all of his tumors got spread up. That's why he looks so butt fucking ugly.
Oh, I thought it was a no air tank. I thought
No.
that's just part of him being able to heal. I didn't know that was because of his tumors.
Yep.
Huh.
His regeneration increases the cell growth. Well, since he also has tumors, his tumors were also growing as fast as he can normally regenerate. Which also, with his regeneration, it leads to some very cool scenes in the prison where he takes advantage of him getting, like, there was a scene where he got his arm broke by Cable, so he took his broken arm and wrapped it backwards around his body and was choking Cable out with his broken arm. That was just great, and Cable did not expect any of that. He was like, who the fuck are you, man?
I think my favorite little, like, Easter egg was him being called Thanos because it's the same dude and, like, Avengers.
Brolin? Cable?
Yeah, because Avengers literally just happened.
Right.
And so, like, I don't know why, but I'm just like, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one. Did you know, I don't think it was you that told me, I think I heard it at work, that the whole reason why he did the X-Force wasn't just to, like, make fun of X-Men, it was, he was in the
The Wakanda Forever salute?
Yes. I had the word in my head, but I just couldn't say
Well, it makes you think that there was a correlation between the two. Because...
why else would he do, like, I get that it's an X, but Wakanda Forever.
I think that was just a coincidence more than anything, because he didn't reference Black Panther while doing any of that stuff.
Yeah, but he made other little, like, Avengers, like, comments, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Right, but that was, like, purposeful fourth wall breaks. Him doing a little action that actually represents something in the universe that he is pertaining to, I don't think that... I think that's a very loose connection that I don't really see as a little Easter egg or shout out to another movie.
Whatever.
I really hope. So towards the end of the movie, in like the cutscenes, he goes back and fixes Cable's time travel device and rights some previous wrongs. Like he sharpened the cream cheese spreader so he could kill the guy and save Vanessa instead of having her die.
Okay, so do you think she's going to be in the next movie?
Yes, 100%. That is Wade's entire reason for being. You saw how just off the rails he went without her.
Like how sad and lovey-dovey you were after the movie at the thought of losing me?
Yeah, because it was just the thought, like I could, being in the same position as Wade Wilson or Deadpool and that, and seeing him lose someone that he loves really hits home, you know, if you feel that same way.
I think it's funny, he's like, yeah, I really loved her, But what's more important, I liked her. I'm just like, wait a minute.
You can love someone and not like them. I love my dad.
Okay.
But
Yeah, but
there's a lot of stuff that...
Okay, family's different. Your significant other, like, if you didn't like me...
Right. It would be a lot harder, but at the same time, I think a lot of people put the more emphasis on the love because that they do have that connection, that they're able to put up with this stuff even though they don't like it.
But yeah, when he went to go save Russell the very first time, when he realized that he was like, when Russell first started using his powers, and he took that kid's cereal box and signed it Ryan Reynolds. How are you gonna go back in time and kill Ryan Reynolds? Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, everybody, which I don't think was that bad, everybody's hating on him for his Green Lantern performance, but you are also Ryan Reynolds. You just signed that box, Ryan Reynolds.
It wasn't his performance that everybody was dogging on. It was the entire movie. The horrible CGI, the loose story. I mean, come on.
You can't shoot Ryan Reynolds for that, though. That's not his fault.
But he also shot himself as his very first iteration of Deadpool.
No, that was, like he said, he was cleaning up timelines, though. Because they were both Ryan Reynolds, or they were both Wade Wilson.
So how is that any different?
Because he legit killed Ryan Reynolds, not his...
Ryan Reynolds was portraying.
No, but no. It was him looking at the Green Lantern script saying, oh, I should do this movie. It wasn't like his Green Lantern performance. It was him being Ryan Reynolds. So that's different. If he would have...
Timeline. Different timeline. Because I guarantee in that movie, it's not... In the Marvel Universe, Green Lantern doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's DC.
So an actor who's signing on to play a DC hero isn't going to exist within the Marvel Universe.
So why didn't he even touch base on that then? When they're not even...
wall break. I mean, that's all it was for. Was to just go back and clean up his timelines and stuff. Like he went back and saved Peter, the regular guy on the X-Force. Just told him to walk away, and he was like, "Yeah,
Sugar
you're
Bear.
right. That was walk away, Sugar Bear." He was like, "Yeah, you're right. This is all pretty scary."
I'm just yelling at you to make them think that I'm strong. But I love you, Sugar Bear.
But it was the same thing. He was just going back and cleaning up like alternate timelines, alternate paths, stuff like that. It was a funny fourth wall break. It doesn't imply that he killed himself in the past because he's still there as Deadpool.
Ooh, I read a good one, or maybe it was. I don't know if I read it.
You read a good one.
Maybe.
Anyway,
if Cable, his family didn't die,
he would have disappeared.
Yeah. So let's touch base on that. So why did he not? Besides for the fact of like different movies going forward.
I don't know. I think it gets into like a whole convoluted like time travel paradoxes and stuff. If you change something in the past, it's going to have an effect in the future. Well, there was no saying that like just Cable coming to the past to begin with, he already has to set on that timeline and jump back. It's not like he has always been there, or that he would have always come back in since he was in the future. Doesn't mean that he had already lived in the past. So I mean, like, it's just a linear progression of his own timeline.
So fine. But if all of that had changed, I don't believe that he still would have been hanging out right there with them, walking.
Ooh, actually, no, better yet. I have, alright, so with, when you saw Deadpool come back in the past and tell Peter to walk away from there, he inhabited his own body when he went into the past.
Yeah.
It's not like he came back and there was a second of him, right?
Right.
So, essentially, with Cable going back into the past, since there is no future version there's no past version of him yet because he hadn't been born.
Okay.
He's essentially living in the past now.
Oh, so there will be two of him eventually.
He will eventually be born and go along that same route. But since he wasn't born yet, like, he was just his own person in the past.
Okay, fine. If that's the case, then why does he have his daughter's teddy bear? Because he's not born yet, so that bear, if anything, should vanish.
But he was also brought back, like, his gun, stuff like that. he was wearing like his own little techno suit. He brought tools with him, stuff like that. Those didn't
That all just
disappear.
sounds like a bunch of honky.
When you get into time travel, like nothing is super clear.
No, because look at Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange's time travel seems like it makes sense.
It's not
There's not, like, a
necessarily
bunch of
his
extra,
time
like-
travel. It's his time manipulation.
No, it's also time travel because in the Doctor Strange movie, he keeps getting killed. He rewinds the time and keeps going back.
Right,
in the
but he's
past.
manipulating it with an Infinity Stone.
So what is this new gadget that Cable has?
Some futuristic techno shit. He
But yeah,
lives
he
in
only
a
gets
far advanced society.
It's so far advanced, and he only gets to use it twice.
Well, that
once
sounds
to go
like
there,
lazy writing.
once goes there, once goes back. But if we let Cable also go back later after he saves Deadpool, then he's not able to be in our future movies. So let's just have this whole shit make zero fucking sense.
There's just a lot of stuff with it being comic books and completely made up to begin with.
They don't
You just
even go
gotta
off the
accept-
comic books that much in that movie, though.
Because there wasn't a comic book about this specific movie with all these different elements being brought in.
Oh man.
They tied together like Cable's story with Deadpool's and Russell growing up and all that shit.
I heard there's gonna, or I think I watched a video on it. Whatever, regardless. That they're supposed to do another movie, and they'll touch more based on like Cable.
Well, yeah, Brolin did sign up for a few
4?
movies himself, yeah.
I think there's 4.
So whether or not he's going to continue along with the X-Force or have his own movies is yet to be determined, but
I've watched enough interviews of like him from the Avengers stuff. Him as a person, like just like Tom Holland, Spider-Man. I'm not a fan of that person, but they do a great job as those characters. And that's why I'm surprised. Like he overall did a really good Thanos. I was not expecting Cable to be
good.
Yeah. Like, and just like supposedly in the comics, he doesn't really have any humor or anything, so the fact that they brought a little bit of humor to Cable, I mean,
It's
just
a
like,
Deadpool movie.
yeah, I get it. I don't know. I feel like maybe that actor is not really good at comedy at all, though.
He's a serious actor. I mean, if you look at...
Serious? He's in a Deadpool movie. And Avengers isn't that serious.
Look at who he played in Thanos. He didn't play a lighthearted character. He's a serious actor himself. He plays a nice, stoic, like, person set on his own path.
Doucher with balls on his shin.
They weren't even ball-shaped.
They were saggy and had some crevices.
He just had, like, a really square jaw for his big face, and they had lines on him. Like, how is that
Wait,
balls?
who called him Squidward?
Oh.
That was funny. I know someone did. No, they called Robert Downey Jr. called that other dude Squidward at the beginning. When he first had to activate his suit and he was hanging out with Doctor Strange and Hulk. Yeah. He called that dude Squidward. That's what I'm thinking
Gotcha.
of. I don't know. Regardless.
He did, yeah. One of Thanos' underlings, the one that could control stuff with his mind.
The one that got frozen in space. Which they never technically confirmed that he was dead. We're assuming.
I think someone like him, it's safe to say, since he was only, like, hanging out and, like, doing Thanos' bidding, he wasn't, like, an integral character that we had a backstory on, stuff like
I
that.
don't think we had any backstory, but I heard that potentially he could come back.
That's just movie lore. If you don't see them die on screen, then they are still alive.
I want Loki to come back, because as much of a douche
Loki's
he is...
dead.
No.
He
as much
died.
of a douche he is, he's a legit decent
He
character.
died before even Thanos got to use the Infinity Stone,
Time
so there is
Stone-
no...
Actually, hold on though. If they fix the whole timeline... Now we're talking about a whole nother movie here. If they fix that timeline though, before he even got the first stone, then Loki would be alive.
But if they fixed the timeline, went back and did all that shit, then they would still have to face Thanos.
That's true.
Because that was at the very beginning when Thanos had only had, was it the Power Stone?
Yeah.
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 And then he ended up acquiring the Tesseract from Loki.
Yep.
And then, so he didn't have the Soul Stone, so there's no chance of Loki still being alive in the Soul Stone, which is a big theory right now with
I don't give
everybody
a shit
else.
What's her name from Guardians of the Galaxy? The green girl?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot. I should know this.
Starts with a G.
Gamora.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't care about her coming back. But
How?
They only
She was
want...
badass.
Yeah, but if she dies, she dies. She's not my fan favorite. But they're only going to bring her back because she's doing other stuff for, like, Guardians of the Galaxy. Which, whatever, that's...
I think she has enough merit on her own to be brought back.
Whatever. Let's let Spider-Man stay dead.
No.
Yes.
No.
I hate Tom Holland.
I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man, though. He's just a giddy kid. He plays a good Spider-Man. He has
to be
good
fair,
blend of awkwardness, but not like Tobey Maguire awkwardness.
See, to be fair, I haven't seen any of the... I never liked Spider-Man. But because it was on HBO, I'm like... Okay, I guess. Because I watched the... What Captain America movie was it that he was in? It wasn't Winter Soldier, was it?
It was Civil War.
Yeah. Because I saw him in that, and I'm like... He's going to be like a thing. So
Yeah.
I guess I better watch him. I mean...
Homecoming was great.
It was good. It wasn't my favorite.
But I think as far as like the Spider-Man, like we didn't have to deal with another origin story, which I liked because, you know, they had already briefly covered that with Civil War.
Yeah, but also they probably, I'm surprised they didn't, only because let's look at every Batman movie ever. They do the origin story a million times over.
And
just like even in the TV show Gotham, like, we get it. We know how fucking Batman became Batman.
Right, but I mean, if you look at the other two movie series that they already tried to do with Spider-Man,
yeah,
they already covered his origin story twice, and that's within like this generation of comic book movies.
My gosh.
It was over, it was played out, and I think Marvel started to see that because in the comics, Spider-Man's not a teenager in high school anymore. He hasn't been a teenager in high school.
Like, I watched the newest Superman, I watched Batman vs. Superman, I watched Wonder Woman. I haven't seen the Justice League movie, which, to be honest, like, I'm excited that Jason Momoa is playing Aquaman. However,
good.
I know, but I hate it because Aquaman has blonde hair and blue eyes. We're not getting that at all. Jason Momoa as an actor, on point, but I feel like they could have put him as some other type of superhero.
No, if you look at, like, if you actually watch it, they took Aquaman and made him less of just kind of like hanging out off the coast doing whatever. He's actually Nordic and like living up there, helping small villages, stuff like that.
So he
being
has
a protector
legs too,
of
not
Atlantis.
just a fin.
He's not a merman.
I thought that was what.
No,
in the
he
comics.
always had feet.
In comics?
Always had feet. He just had the abilities in the water to do what he does.
Oh, I thought he was a merman.
No. And Jason Momoa as an actor, like, he brings a fresh cockiness to it that reminds me a lot of, like, Iron Man, but if he had actual powers. It's good.
See,
like, that is a redeeming
so
quality of Justice League.
Here's also my downside to the DC universe now. Like, Dark Knight was a fantastic trilogy.
It was okay.
It was fantastic. But, like, I feel like ever since that, it hasn't been great. Like, everything is just so much darker and sinister and just, like, at least with Marvel, they have a little bit of comedy in what they're serious. They don't have everything be so, like, dark and shadowy. They bring some light to things.
Right, but if you look at it, the one successful series that DC did have in this current generation of superhero movies, it was all dark, it was all sinister, it was business.
That's fine, but you don't have to make all the DC characters.
But see, the thing is, when they haven't had success, they see that as like their cash cow,
they're gonna sit on it. Yeah.
They're gonna sit on it as long as they can, and they did try a lot in Justice League to introduce a lot of humor in everything, but it didn't feel natural, quite like Marvel does.
Was there a standalone Ben Affleck Batman movie?
Not yet.
Was it just Batman versus Superman that Wonder Woman gets introduced?
Yep.
I feel like
and
at
then
the end,
Wonder Woman gets her movie after
yeah. I feel like at the end of that, I was hyped up for Justice League because like the video clips that you
Seeing
get
those
sent.
three fight together was...
Well, yeah, kinda. Not even just that, but like the video clip of like we're gonna meet Flash, we're gonna meet Aquaman,
Yeah.
we're like those clips
going through the other files of
Yeah.
the other superheroes.
But like when the time came, I'm just like, yeah, like I'm not that impressed. I don't know. I'll have to watch it to give my fair bias or unbiased opinion, I guess. Be a critic then, but from the YouTube videos and reviews and stuff, like I haven't been like.
That's just DC
I have
though.
to say it.
Right. That's just DC though. I mean, they're trying. God bless their souls, but
They're never gonna catch up to Marvel.
it's impossible right now.
Well, I mean,
Marvel
let's
is
look at it though.
churning out. They're turning out like 7 movies a year, and
Well,
they
I
are
mean-
strong.
It all started because of Iron Man. If that Iron Man movie wasn't successful, we wouldn't be where we are today.
If they had cast anybody other than Robert Downey Jr.
That's fair.
as a lead for Iron Man, I don't think any of it would have kicked off.
I mean, he's such a great Iron Man.
He is.
Like, when he's finally done being this role, like, that's gonna be kind of sad. And I hope they don't recast him or, like,
No,
re-universe it or anything. I hope, if that's the case, if he's not in it.
As
we'll
Iron
completely
Man,
cast
yes,
it.
but I think that, like with the comics and stuff, he's gonna be eventually taking a step back, not playing Iron Man, but playing Tony Stark. And he's still gonna hang out, and he's still gonna direct the team like he does now,
Yeah.
but I don't think that he's gonna necessarily don the suit himself every time.
Well, he's getting old. He wants a family. He's engaged,
Right.
wants kids.
Like
he's having
he keeps
dreams
trying.
about
He
being an
keeps
adult.
trying to like be with Pepper.
Yeah.
But since there isn't anybody that he can pass his mantle to yet,
So he's
doing it himself.
Yeah.
And I think it'll still be good to see him pass that mantle on
So,
and
like-
still be hanging out in the background.
Well, then he better have a
supporting.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter if he has a boy or girl, but I feel like if anything, he should have a boy.
But then even if he had a boy, you'd have to wait 20 years before.
Well, yeah, but I mean, let's think about it this way: we can fast forward. With,
No, there's so much going on with every other hero too. You can't just skip all that. It's going to be like in the comics where it gets passed off to like either a super bright student that also takes a passion in wanting to make the world a better place, something like that.
Okay.
All right, we've gone on a long time and
well,
kind of got off
we could do this
topic.
forever. Yeah. Well,
A lot.
still superheroes at least.
Yeah,
How was your food?
it was good. It was good.
I was
Cold,
unimpressed.
but
I mean, even zapping it in the microwave and letting it sit while we waited on that second bag to show up. Cheese was overly greasy. Not very, like, I wanted chips and
your
queso.
queso was overly greasy.
What'd I say?
You said just cheese, like
Queso.
cheese as if it were on anything else. Like,
Quesadillas were decent. I mean, I've had better, so I was kind of let down. There were a bunch of onions in there, as if, like, they started to put the pico de gallo in it, and they're like, oh, wait, she said no. And I'm like, So,
my tacos were everything I expected, so, and I'm not picky at all.
I don't know. I'm very picky. But, okay, guys, that's it.
Sorry if you were looking for just a Deadpool 2 video. Deadpool 2 is still great. Love it.
Not clickbait.
Definitely would go see it again.
I don't know if I would. I would wait till it comes out on DVD.
I still would see it again.
I don't know, just like I was super let down when I saw Avengers 2 again. Or Avengers,
Infinity War.
yeah.
What-
Like I was just so let down, and I just remember I hate fucking Star-Lord. God. Besides the point, we're getting off track again. I could go on for days. But thank you for watching. As always, links are down in the description. Thanks for hanging out and listening to us nerd out and eat mediocre, not authentic Mexican food. But that's it, guys. Till next time. Thank you.